Snake Eye and its new sibling archetypes, Diabellestarr and Tainted Treasure, are the most recent archetypes to be revealed in Age of Overlord. And they're very interesting ones, with their main gimmick being placing monsters on the field or graveyard into the spell trap zone, Crystal Beast style, and it can even do that to your opponent's cards. Accompanied by an amazing resource loop that is very consistent and repeatable, this deck is certainly something to keep an eye on. Now, while it's probably too early on to say if this deck has any super set in stone combos, it's definitely clearly not a traditional combo deck, but there is some lines and interactions you want to know about, especially involving Diabellestarr the Dark Witch, the sort of centerpiece of the deck. While it might not be a Snake Eye, it has a lot of effects that sort of bridge the gap between it and that archetype and make it work very well there. For starters, it can special summon itself by sending a card from your hand or field to the graveyard, which has tons of synergy with this deck, and when it's summoned, it sets a Tainted Treasure spell trap directly from a deck, which are spells that do have synergy with both the Snake Eyes and Diabellestarrs. And its last effect is when it's sent from the hand or field to the graveyard during your opponent's turn, you can send a card from your hand or field to the grave and summon itself again. And you'll see that this has a lot of power in this deck. Now this is a sort of example 2.5 card combo, and that is of Diabellestarr and the original Tainted Treasure Snake Eye, as well as an extra discard. Now the original Tainted Treasure pretty much just sends a face-up card you control to the grave to summon a level 1 fire from your deck. In this case, mostly just summoning Snake Eyes. There's some weird targets, but they're not really relevant right now, and it has a second recycling effect. But to start off with, we go ahead and use Diabellestarr's effect, sending the discard, and summoning itself. After we summon it, we can go ahead and search out a Tainted Treasure, in this case Sylvia, because it's a Omni-Negate trap that can also send Diabellestarr from field to grave, which is relevant. So we go ahead and set that from deck to the field. Then we go ahead and use original Tainted Treasure Snake Eye. Now be wondering, well, we can't use Sylvia if we don't control Diabellestarr, but don't worry, we'll get it back. Go ahead and use Snake Eye, send the Dark Witch to grave, and special summon the Snake Eye Exil. This is basically the Stratos of the deck, and it's a very little Stratos that can even search itself. But on normal special summon, it searches a level 1 fire monster from the deck. And with it, regrab Snake Eye White Birch, the sort of extender. If you control a fire, you just summon it. After summoning Birch, we go ahead and use its effect to send itself and another face-up card you control to the grave to special summon a Snake Eye monster from your hand or deck, except for Birch. In this case, the sort of boss monster, Snake Eye's Flamebird Dragon, a very strong monster, and this has a couple relevant effects. The first is that it can target a monster in the grave or face-up field, and place it face-up in its owner's spell trap zone as a continuous spell. Second, during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target one monster card in the field treated as a continuous spell, and special summon it to your field. And third, if it's sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can special summon 2 level 1 fire monsters from your graveyard. So afterwards, we'll go ahead and put the Diabellestarr Dark Witch from our grave face up in our spell trap zone. Then, on the opponent's turn, we can go ahead and use Flamebird's effect and special summon the Dark Witch. Use Dark Witch to search another spell trap. In this case, another original Tainted Treasure Snake Eye. And then, during this turn, we can go ahead and flip up Tainted Treasure to Omni-Negate, sending the Dark Witch to the grave. So this is a pretty good little combo. And, thankfully, when this card is sent from the field to the grave, we can go ahead and bring it back. And then, as cost, we have to send a card from our field to the graveyard. But that's where Flamebird's floating effect comes in, because when it's sent from the field to the grave, we just get these two right back on the field. And we even get to use Exil's effect to search Orc, the monster reborn of the deck. So out of that combo, we sort of set up the loop. We have Diabellestarr, which can keep giving us Tainted Treasure spell traps. We have Exil that keeps searching as Snake Eyes, or can keep bringing back Exil. White Birch is just a quick effect extender. And even though we only in this case are running one Flamebird, there's plenty of ways to recycle it with cards like original Tainted Treasure. So it's a very strong little interaction, and on the following turns you can start using cards like Flamebird as a straight up removal. How about a full random test hand of 5 cards? And you'll see here I'm running the ELDLICH engine with the deck because I think it has a ton of synergies with all the different cards, and it's a safe pick early on. To start off with, we go ahead and use Cursed Land, and go ahead and search Hawk Arrow as we already have Conquistador. Then, we can go ahead and use the original Tainted Treasure to send a face-up card we control to the grave to summon a Snake Eye. And you'll notice we sent Cursed Land, a card that can very much profit if it's sent from the field to the grave. So we search with Exile, and we can search with Cursed Land, dumping an ELDLICH card to the grave. Then we can go and use Diabellestarr and send the Exile to the grave. The reason why is because we have Orc in hand, so we can just bring it right back. Then we go and use Diabellestarr and search Sylvia. Then summon Orc. Then we can go ahead and bring back the Exile. Then using one of these two, we can send both to the grave to special summon Flamberge. Then we activate the field spell, Shrine of Serpentine Sight, which just places a Snake Eye monster from hand, deck, or grave face up in its owner's spell trap zone. And in this case, we place White Birch because it's the only Snake Eye we don't have right now. Then we can use Flamberge and place Orc. Then we just set our 3 trap cards, or 2 in this case, because we do have Akero. And as one issue of this deck, it does clog its spell trap and monster zones very quickly, which is kind of the only drawback of the ELDLICH engine. Then on the opponent's turn, we can go ahead and use Flamberge, bring back the Orc, and special summon an Exile from grave to grab another Exile from the deck to search again. Then if the opponent summons, we can optionally summon White Birch. Then we can use Sylvia, sending the Diabellestarr to the grave to Omni-Negate, bring back the Diabellestarr, send a card to the grave, and search with her. In this case, I grab Snake Eye. Now, one thing to know about this card, it might not be a Tainted Treasure right now, but it looks like it's going to be changed to become a part of the Snake Eye archetype and Tainted Treasure, so it will be searchable off the Diabellestarr. Then here you can just go ahead and tribute out the Snake Eyes, not to really do anything specific, but more to clear up zones to get the ELDLICH cards back online. Because then, we can go to use Conquera and ELDLICH to get the ELDLICH pop. So while this inboard and combo didn't really give much interaction, it was only a couple hits, it does set up a very strong resource loop. You have all these Snake Eye cards, the Diabellestarr Dark Witch, and the ELDLICH engine all going off at once. You have plenty of ways of removal, such as Flamberge. So while you might not be able to completely stop your opponent will have a very rough time running you out of resources and always completely breaking your board. Now for the deck list. Now this is going to be very rough and unfinished because, well, the deck was just revealed, but it should be a decent starting point. Of course, I'm running triple Diabellestarr. She's one of the strongest cards in the entire deck and sort of is the glue that holds a lot of it together because she finishes all the Tainted Treasures. She's a free summon, she brings herself back. She's very strong in general. I'm running 1 Flamberge. I'm very tempted to run 2 because it's a very strong card and can be kind of annoying to get out of the grave, but it really sucks to draw, and it's at its best when you're already kind of set up, but it's so good. It lets you set up your board, extend, it removes cards, it's very flexible. I'm running 2 Snake Eye White Birch because it's a strong extender, but it's very easy to get to, and you only really want it when you have other Snake Eyes already. I'm running 2 Orc. I'm tempted to run 3 because it's great to just reborn a Snake Eye, but it's so searchable, and it's also another Snake Eye where you kind of want it when you're already doing things. The main one to run a 3 is Exile because it searches all of the level 1 fighters. It can even search itself. It's just a very strong card. And then I'm running triple the field spell, Shrine of Serpentine Sight Snake Eye. Now this card is good. It places Snake Eyes from the hand, deck, or graveyard to the spell trap zone, and then it can go ahead and special summon them, and it buffs their attack. One of the really nice things about this card is this is a good way to get back a Flamberge from the graveyard, and then you can special summon it on the opponent's turn. Then original Tainted Treasure Snake Eye is a very strong card, just summons any of the level 1 Snake Eyes from the deck, and sending a card you control to the grave can be a benefit sometimes, especially with stuff like Cursed Land. as well as its second effect, which lets you actually recycle your Snake Eyes and Diabellestarrs and then search. Insanely good card. Another strong one is Tainted Treasure Hunter Fiend, which lets you search a Diabellestarr monster from your deck or grab it from the grave. And unfortunately, there's only one right now, but I'm sure there'll be more in the future. And then it can also recycle itself, as well as letting you draw cards, which is great. I am running one of this Snake Eye. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Says it's actually getting its name changed to become a Tainted Treasure, and I'm treating it as that. It's also going to be treated as part of the Snake Eye archetype. So when that happens, it becomes great because it's just simple, clean removal. It makes the Dark Witch much better going second. Definitely worth running. I'm running triple of the new Bonfire because it searches all the Snake Eyes. It's a great consistency booster. Then I'm running one of Tainted Treasure of Doom, Lucilia. I didn't get to actually show this in the replays, but this is a very strong card. It basically makes a level 7 or higher spellcaster you control, aka Dark Witch, not only unaffected by other monster effects, it also can sort of be Raigeki because it makes all your opponent's monsters lose attack, equal to Diabellestarr, so it means all 2500 attack and less monsters get destroyed when they hit 0 attack, which is very strong. And the cost of sending your monster to the grave during the standby phase is mostly fine. It's not hard to get Diabellestarr back, you know, especially if you get a Raigeki out of it or even a huge attack debuff. And then Sylvia is another very strong trap because it's a simple, clean Omni-Negate, and its cost to send Diabellestarr to the field of the grave is on the opponent's turn, which means she comes right back. It also has the very interesting ability to basically stop your opponent from negating your Diabellestarr and Tainted Treasure cards. So it does make this card better to draw going second if you discard it off of, say, you know, Dark Witch or Golden Lord. So it is keeping this sort of tier element theming of trying to make traps better going second. And I'm running a very traditional ELDLICH engine, kind of because there are really strong, you know, synergies between them, but also it's just a safe sort of filler option until people perfect the deck. In the side deck, I'm just having some cards you could consider. Glaring Ruler is a strong card, but it's unsearchable. So while it is very good removal, and it can reborn monsters from the spell trap zone, it's interesting. It does require you to have 2 Snake Eyes, or at least Flamberge, and there's, as far as I can tell, no clean way to get to it. If it becomes easily searchable, it's worth running. And then Burial the Infernos is a very funny card, because if you can get into the grave like Foolish Burial or something like Diabellestarr, you can attach it to Spell Trap Zone to Flamberge and then bring it back on the opponent's turn. And this applies to basically all Floodgate monsters like that, or even the ones that pop on summon. So this kind of represents a lot of those monsters that are worth experimenting with to abuse Flamberge's very interesting special zone effect that lets you cheat out basically everything. And then the extra deck is just kind of stuff that can sometimes come up, various different Xyz, and the sort of normal ELDLICH Link lineup. You can put whatever in here. You know, if you want to mess with the Synchro Tuner Pyro cards and make Synchros, you can. The deck is very flexible because it never locks itself into anything, and so you should definitely keep a lookout for it.